Welcome everyone, and to get started, Laura, the floor is yours.
All right. Hello, everybody. Nice to meet all of you. My name is Laura Nanich. As Daniel said, thank you very much. I am the program director for the Masters in Media Production program. So we're just holding an info session. We've had a lot of questions, lots of emails, and we're holding an info session to answer any questions and any concerns that any of you may have. I know there is quite a bit of information up on our website, but I think what we'll do today is just run through some of the requirements for, what kind of program is this, what do we do in our program? What kind of students are we looking for? What are the admission requirements? What kind of projects would you do? That's the kind of thing we'll take a look at. What kind of careers might you do after graduation? And then if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask. You can ask during the presentation. You can either raise your hand and we can answer, or you can put it in the chat. And then we'll definitely have a question and answer period at the end. Okay, does anyone have any questions before we get started? No? Everybody good? Okay. So we are part of the RTA School of Media. We're in the graduate school at Toronto Metropolitan University. This is a one-year, pretty intensive program. So this program has been running since I think around 2007. So we've got quite a number of graduates already, and I was part of developing the program. I've been the graduate program director for quite a number of the years, kind of on and off, but since around 2010, I've been on it for quite a number of years. And I teach also within the program and supervise graduate students as well. So hopefully I'll be able to answer all of your questions. But basically, let's talk about what you need to do for the admissions process. So essentially, we are looking for students who have a 4-year bachelor's degree or the equivalent. So if you are someone who perhaps graduated 20 years ago when 4-year bachelor degrees were not really something that was offered very frequently, we will also take a look at work experience that you had. But generally speaking, we're looking at students who have completed a 4-year bachelor's degree. Your minimum grade point average should be a B, like a 3 on a 4.33 scale. And we'll look at the last 2 years of study. So if you had a little bit of trouble in the first couple of years, we understand that lots of students have a little bit of issues in the first couple of years. They're kind of getting used to university. So we look at how you did in the last 2 years of your 4 years. And we're looking at a GPA of 3, so a B. Okay, so you also will, if you take a look at our website, you'll see that you need to provide us with a project proposal statement. So we're going to be asking you, what kind of project would you like to take part in while you're in the program? Why are you interested in the program? What is it that you want to do? And we'd also like you to take a look at the professors that we have in the program and suggest a potential supervisor, or 2 or 3 potential supervisors if you'd like. Like who do you think that you would like to work with within our program? Who do you think might be a good fit for you to work with you as your supervisor as you work through your project? We also ask for a resume, a CV, just so we can get an idea of what kind of work have you done. And we would like to take a look at a portfolio for you. So in that case, Daniel, do you know what formats they're accepting this year for a portfolio?
Yes, it's going to be a PDF file. So all the files that you can upload on the system, just because of the way the system is set up, it's all PDFs. So from there, depending on your portfolio style, you can either add basically a link if it's going to be a video, or you can add images right on the PDF. So that kind of thing. As long as the final output that you're putting into the system is a PDF file, then you can do anything you like. Yeah.
So if you have a website or a YouTube link or something, you're welcome to, as your PDF, part of the PDF, just provide us with the link, and then we'll be able to take a look at whatever it is that you have that's online. Okay. And finally, we will ask for 2 letters of recommendation. We certainly prefer that you have academic letters of reference. So from your professors, again, if it's been, 15, 20 years since you've been in school, it's okay if you have one professional, and we even then we would still like it if you can get an academic reference, but we understand sometimes that's absolutely not possible. So if you're a recent grad, we certainly want academic references. If you are a not so recent grad, then we will accept other references as well. Does anybody have questions about your about the academic requirements? Aiden.
Yeah, hi, sorry. So for the just two questions. So one is for the referees. So we only need two?
Two.
Just two, that's it, not three.
Nope, just two. I think they might allow you to do a third, but two is what we request and what we require.
Okay, and then your first comment, thank you for that, by the way. Oh, sorry.
Once you get two, that's when admissions will consider your file to be complete, and then they will send it on to us.
Okay, and then for the first comment, that was a comment on the letter of intent. So where a letter of intent is sort of like a proposal for a project we'd want to work on in the program.
Yeah, you'll see the full instructions on the admissions page, like when they give you the link, and it'll ask you, like what are there are a couple of questions. So it's partly, what do you think is a recent trend within the media industry? What kind of project do you want to do? So you'll just take a look at it, but it's essentially, it's what is it that you want to do? Why do you think you're a good fit in this program? And what do you want to do? And please mention a couple of potential supervisors.
Yeah, and the supervisors, we would find those on the website as well?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We got a couple of questions. Veronica?
Hi, yeah, just a question about the project proposal. I guess how limited are we to, like, when the project that we outline in our sorry, what's the word, application, do we kind of have to stick with that if we are going to be in the program, or can that kind of change from admission to actually doing the project?
It is okay if it changes. I mean, even the projects that we accept, a lot of the students, once they get into the program in the first 6 weeks of the program, they change quite drastically for a lot of students. So it's okay if it does change. We'd like to have, I mean, you may not want it to change completely. Like, it's not, I want to do, I want to make a documentary, and then you decide, like, I think I'd rather study dolphin communication. Like, can't be like that radically, but if what your project is, you kind of want to change what it's going to be or what the focus is, that's fine. We accept that this is kind of what your basis is, what you're starting to think about. And we would expect it to grow and to develop as you start to read more literature and you start to take some other theoretical courses. We expect that you're going to change your mind a little bit about what you're going to be doing. So it's certainly not carved in stone.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I can't see the name. Chetnaya? How do you say your name? Sorry.
Hi, it's Chaitanya.
Hi, go ahead.
I had a couple of questions. I've also spoken to James about this over email. One is, I'm an international student. I have a unrelated bachelor's degree in engineering. So one, is that an issue? It's a 4-year degree, but is that an issue for your program?
It's not always an issue. If you've had some experience, whether it's on your own, it doesn't necessarily have to be through school. If you've got some professional experience, we're going to be taking a look at your portfolio. We have had students who've come in who've had, a chemistry background, for example. I mean, they've done very well because they've done other work on their own within media and they're still familiar with it. This is not a program where you're going to be learning from scratch. Like, I want to do a complete career change. I've never looked at a camera before. Can you teach me how to turn it on? I mean, that's not what this program is. We're looking at things at a graduate level, but it doesn't matter what your undergraduate degree is. If you've already done some work, like, as I said, whether it's professional or whether you've been working on your own as a really intense hobby, as long as you're feeling pretty confident about the type of work you want to do, that's okay. We will take a look at your program.
I've worked for 10 years since my graduation in the media industry, whether it be in radio or production or video or whatever. So my experience should cover me there at least. So I'll only be able to provide one academic reference because I graduated in 2012 and one professional letter of recommendation. My second question was that on your website, I've seen that I have to provide a 500 word letter of intent combined with my project proposal. Right? So don't you think like that length is very short to really provide both these things in a 500 word essay? Because I'd like to write more about what I want to do and who I am.
But we definitely read it. We don't want 25 pages, but if you go a little bit beyond the word limit, that'll be okay. We will not cut it off at least I don't think it does that. Daniel, they don't actually do it by word count, do they? I think it's just you submit your file and we'll take a look at it. So that's okay.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay,
A few
okay.
words over is perfectly fine. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Laura Bosco here is, I have a similar situation, Shantanaya. I have already talked to James Nadler about it, and he said it would be okay. But I have a question regarding the English requirements, because I have a 4-year bachelor degree from a Brazilian institution. I have a law degree, and then I came to Canada and I got an advanced diploma in film and television. From what I read, it says if you have a degree from a Canadian university, you don't have to take the English test. But since I have a degree from a Canadian college, does it mean I have to take like an English test, like a IELTS or something, or having an advanced diploma from a college would be, proof that I can speak English fluently?
Daniel, are you able to answer that? I don't know actually what admissions does.
So I mean, admissions will have to review it, to be honest. So they have to actually take a look at specifically what institution you're sort of took the degree from. It is the one that you took here in Canada. Is that a 1 year or a 2 year?
It's a 3-year program. It's an advanced diploma. It's Centennial College, the institution.
Okay. I think for this one, admissions will have to review just to double check. So if you don't mind, I'll put our email address in the chat in a little bit, and just send us an email just to double check and give us more information about the actual institution, the time, all that kind of stuff. And then I'll forward that to admissions so they can make the decision. Those decisions usually happen at their end because they have the equivalence of degrees and all that kind of stuff before they get to the program. That's why we'll have to sort of rely on them to make the final call at that point. Okay.
Okay, got it. And just out of curiosity, since I have an advanced diploma and a bachelor degree, the GPA would be from the most recent one?
They'll actually do both. They'll calculate both. The one they use for admissions more than likely will be from the degree, but you have to submit transcripts from both institutions.
Got it.
And then again, admissions will take a look because it does depend on the type of diploma it is.
Okay.
Some of them qualify, some of them don't. It's based on several factors. That's why they have to take a look. But yeah, either way, you'll submit both transcripts and everything for both of those institutions. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Bosco. Munir, you have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I have 2 questions actually. First, like on reality, if all your requirements are full, like you have all the requirements, what's the percentage, or do I have a chance really to be accepted? I tried twice to get into Ryerson. I even reached the final point. Someone meet me face to face, and again, no explanation whatsoever. You will be dumped, like all your effort will be dumped right away. Okay, nothing, sorry for that. Have a great day. This is number 1. Number 2, what about your GPA? If your GPA is a little bit lower, because like I'm in Canada, of course. I've done a film in 2 years program, and now I'm almost graduating from my bachelor degree in digital communication. But again, it's a little bit difficult to prepare all the paperwork, send whatever, blah blah blah. Suddenly, nothing. Have a great day. So, what can you tell me about this?
Okay. Lauren, would you want me to go ahead, or you want to?
You can go ahead.
Well, a couple of things. So in terms of the GPA, I'll start with that one. So we do have what we call a holistic approach to reviewing applications. So if your GPA is just slightly lower than the B requirement, admissions will probably still sort of send that to us with a note saying, if this applicant gets, wants to be accepted, they require a particular exemption and so on and so forth. Now that obviously is dependent on competition and other applications, right? So it's a very competitive program in terms of number of applicants that we receive. And so depending on the quality of the applications every year, which varies depending on what's happening in the world, sometimes, we are able to accept some people with have maybe a slightly lower GPA. You can add a little bit of a note if you like in your statement of interest if there's a particular circumstance that maybe change that affected your GPA and stuff like that. If you think that deserves the merit to be mentioned, that's up to you. But in terms of reviewing the applications, that's usually what we do with slightly lower. If your GPA is way lower, like you're talking about like a full letter grade or things like that, at that point, admissions will usually won't send us those files. And we do that mostly because if you can showcase, or you can show that your GPA, your academic performance is up to a certain level, we don't want to necessarily accept you into the program and prepare you to fail in the program, right? So we want to make sure we only accept candidates that that show, that demonstrate the ability to complete the program, because it is a master's program, so there's a lot of academics involved. So we want to make sure that whoever we accept is able to complete the program successfully, right? So that's sort of like the GPA sort of portion of it. In terms of applying and sometimes getting accepted, sometimes not, we do have applicants that apply 2, 3, 4 times in some cases, I think, and sometimes it is a little bit of a competition just because there's a lot of applicants and there's a lot of different people. What you can do is you apply the first time. If you do not get accepted, again, don't get discouraged, and instead find ways to improve your application. Find courses that are related to the program, that are related to your research, that are related to the things that you want to do while in the program, because this will help the review committee see your CVs, see your statement, and basically learn that, hey, you've been working on this. You applied last year. You've been working on this for another year. Trying to improve, trying to get a better application, trying to grow your skills, etc., etc. And that will sort of help usually in terms of raising both the quality of your application and also the interest in the review committee, because it showcases your commitment to this particular area of research or this program in this case, right? So hopefully that sort of answers both those questions there, Manir.
Doha?
Good.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a question relating to the English test. I'm an undergrad, I'm Canadian, but I'm studying abroad in Egypt. And like I'm graduating, hopefully I'm a senior, so hopefully I'm graduating by spring of next year. So does that mean when I apply, am I gonna also need to do the English test?
Did you do high school here in Canada?
I did high school in Canada, and then I came here for my undergrad program.
Okay, you did more than 2 years here, I guess, right? Fully in English.
Yeah, I studied all my life in Canada, like since
Perfect.
elementary school. Yeah.
That's a requirement. So as long as you've completed a minimum of 2 years in a Canadian institution or in a program outside of Canada, but it's fully taught in English, as long as you have a minimum of 2 years of that, then you don't have to submit an actual test like the IELTS or one of those tests or TOEFL. All you have to do is, if you're in that situation, then you'll usually they automatically know that if you study in Canada, for example. But if you're an international applicant, you'll just have to submit either a letter or sometimes you just basically on your transcript that basically, as long as it says that the program was taught in English and you've been there for 2 years, then you're good to go and you don't need to do the one of the English requirement tests. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. I'm sorry?
I believe high school counts for that. I don't think it has to be university level. I think high school counts, but
okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. I have another question. It's regarding the portfolio. So if you'll speak about that in a bit and you'd like me to, wait, it's no problem.
I'll talk about the portfolio in a minute or two. Okay.
Okay. So I'll let you just,
And then jump in if you need to. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Aiden?
Hi, yeah, sorry, just a few questions. So, oh boy, I'm about to forget what I was about to ask you. Oh yeah, sorry. So I'm just looking at the because I want to do when I do like when I apply for this. My interest is to do the media production MBA pathway. So you would apply for the MBA after you get into the program, right?
I will talk about the MBA in a minute as well. So hold your thought.
Okay.
I will go through that one as well. Okay.
Okay. And then I was going to say something else, but I'm pretty sure I just forgot it. So I'll let you get back to it.
And jump into that in a second. Okay. So let's just talk. Let's review them a little bit. So who is our ideal candidate? It's great if you have an undergraduate media degree or something that's related. If you don't, then we'd like to make sure that you've demonstrated that you have knowledge of the production tools that are used in media, or maybe you'll have some media production or business or management experience in the media field, or you can show us that you're passionate about research and creativity in media production. Okay, so we just want we want students here who already have a basis and understand how to produce things. We want students who are just passionate about it. They love it. They love the media. They love to create. We're really looking now, I think, at students who are looking at being executive producers, creative producers. So you only have a year within our program, so it's very, very tight. So a lot of our students are now working on kind of more like being what do they see as the vision? What do they see if they were going to be a media executive going forward? And they're creating, if they may not have the time to create an entire full length production within our program because we only have a year, but maybe you're going to do a proof of concept, like a little bit more than trailer, but you're going to do proof of concept, something that shows aesthetically what is it that you want to create. If you had a full budget and you had the full crew and you had, all the time in the world, it gives you a proof of concept will give a flavor of, it's almost like something you could pitch with. It's something you could show to other people to say, look, if I had everything, here's what I'd want to create. So within the program, you have the choice of saying, I want to create a full-length production, or you can say, I want to do the proof of concept shorter production, or you can just do a full-length major research paper. And in that case, it might be something that's entirely research-based. It might be something that is business-based. Maybe you want to figure out, a new kind of distribution or some new kind of revenue streams that are coming in, or there's something like that you want to think about and research. So when you do your final project, it's either going to be everybody has to write a paper that accompanies your project, that will put it into an academic context. So all the students will have to come up with a research question. So you're going to, even if you do a project, you're going to be thinking about, okay, what gap am I filling? Like, how can I look at this from an academic context? Whether if you are creating a comedy, a pilot for a comedy, you think about, okay, well, what gap is this filling in the industry, or how is this different? What have people written about? What have researchers written about this area? Maybe it's something new in terms of technology. Maybe it's something new in terms of delivery. Maybe it's new in terms of the content. But you're trying to be filling a gap. You're kind of going above and beyond, and every student will have to come up with a research question, a theoretical framework, a methodology, and you're going to be using that to apply it to whatever your research question is. As you're doing that research, you're going to be doing courses. There is quite a bit of theory within this program. So you're going to be taking courses that focus on the theory, you're going to be reading about what other people have written, and you're going to be using that information to inform your project. So in the first term, you're taking quite a number of courses, and this is how you're going to be kind of learning the theoretical aspects of media and audiences, and who's going to be watching, how do you create something, how do you build the aesthetics of what you're doing. And the idea is that in the first term, you'll learn about that. You'll use that as a scaffold. You'll be building on that, and that information will be informing your final production if you do a production, or your final research paper if you end up just doing a research paper. Okay, so it's not just entirely production within our program. There is definitely a theory component as well, because it is a master's degree. We have had students who've done research projects. They actually put out, they're trying to do audience research. They're trying to learn about what people are thinking about in the industry. They're creating surveys, they're doing interviews, they're doing phenomenological research, they're doing grounded theory. So everybody's taking a research methods course. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about, Daniel, I don't know if you have a slide or anything you can pop up there that takes a look at what courses are offered. If you have something, maybe you can share that slide and we can actually just take a look at it.
Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to share my screen.
Do that. but we're really looking at students who are thinking about being executive producers and creative producers. So like what kind of areas of study do we have? You're going to be looking at business and management of media audiences, series development, like series Bibles as a producer, something that's a new media or digital media, documentaries from the perspective of being a producer, podcasts, audio production, music recording, short films, a web series, a proof of concept, as I said, maybe an app. If you're good with technology, you might want to do an app, or maybe a business media concept. So like it's our choices are really broad for whatever it is that is of interest to you. So you've got a wide variety of things that you could work on within this program. So if you take a look at what Daniel has shown here, in the fall term, you take usually four courses. 8100, MP 8100 is the project and MRP development course. I teach that course. I've taught it pretty much for about 10 years now. It's a required course, and that's basically a course where we take a look at what your project is going to be, and we start to work through it, make sure you've got a good research question, you've got the theoretical framework, you figured out what your budget is going to be, you figured out what your timeline is going to be. The goal by the end of that is you have a proposal ready to go that you're going to work with a supervisor. They're going to agree to what your project plan is. And then in the winter, spring, and summer terms, you're going to be actually starting to create that project or write that paper. The second course that is mandatory is creative research methods. So as I said, everybody's going to learn, it's mostly qualitative research methods. There is a little bit of quantitative as well, especially if you're interested in doing the MBA. But you're going to look at narrative research, phenomenology, case studies, grounded theory, and how do you do surveys? How do you do coding of the information that you get? A third course is also required, is aesthetic and communication theory. And basically, you're going to be looking at you're reading about people who have written about communication and how people communicate. You'll be learning about aesthetics, how do we make things look a certain way? Why do we want things to look a certain way? So those are three required courses that every student will take. Then you will also take one elective course of your choice. In the winter term, there's only one required course, which is media entrepreneurship and leadership. And it is kind of a capstone type of a course, a pro seminar, I guess, course, where we have a lot of media industry executives, producers will be coming in and talking to you about you'll understand the media landscape within the Toronto area, within Canada, and internationally as well. And then you will take two electives. So you've got coursework in the fall term and in the winter term. And in the summer term, the only thing that you're going to be working on is your projects. So you'll either be working on your media production project or the major research paper if you've chosen to do a paper instead. Okay. Does anybody have questions right now about what it is that you'd be doing?
Yeah, so sorry, am I good to just chime in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so for the fall term, the project development one, that's just working about our project budgeting, and then MP 8101, that's learning about like qualitative research methods, and then authentic and communication theory. That could you just elaborate on that one more time?
Aesthetics and communication theory is you really are going to be learning about the different people who have been writing about communication studies, like who are the theorists, who are the major theorists who are out there who have written about theories of communication. How do we work? How do we communicate? How do we reach audiences? And aesthetics as well. So, how does the way things look affect audiences? How do you get your vision out there? Like, how do you think about what you want to see and make sure that other people are seeing the same kind of thing? I think Daniel's just popped up a link for you to take a look at each.
Yeah.
At each one of the courses, so you can take a look at the course.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Ian.
Oh, yes. Hi. Good to meet you. Thanks for the session. I will be graduating with a media studies and business administration degree in April. My question is mostly about like how many in-class hours does it say for the fall semester? Like my calculations say about 12 to 15 hours per week. Is that right?
3 hours a week for each of the courses that you would be taking. Yeah,
Okay, right. Okay, good. Thank you.
you're welcome. Any other questions? Just shout out if you have it, because I can't see when we're sharing the screen. I can't quite see everything. So if you have a question,
I,
hi.
Munir again. So it's a full year. It's not like an academic year, right?
It is a full year. It is 12 months. You will start in September. Usually you will do your final project. You will do a final presentation of your project in July and August, somewhere in that term. So you'll be working on your project. You'll start it in the fall term. You'll keep working on it through the winter term. And in the spring, summer, it can be your sole focus is working on your project.
And also, when you're talking about the subjects here in the three terms,
Yeah.
can you touch base on the professional or the technical aspects that this program is gonna cover? Because basically, when you're saying media production, this is, for me, I don't know, it's a little bit vague. When you say media production, are we talking film? Are we talking editing? Are we talking audio, radio? What's the technical part of this?
So that you'll be taking the technical parts of that through your elective courses that you will choose, because we have a number of courses that are available, and it really, every student is going to do something that is of interest to them. So some students might be interested in doing documentary, some students might be interested in doing podcasting, some might be interested in doing, like production management. Some people want to learn how to pitch, so they'll be taking the business of producing. There's a lot of choices that are available. Again, Daniel's sharing some. So we've got social justice media, legal issues in media, advanced audio theory, business of music. We have, there's a lot of choice. So it really depends on what would be supporting you and your project. And, you have access to all of the facilities that we have. You have access to all the technology that we have to be able to create your own project. So you would be getting your own team. So if you're doing a video project, you're not expected to do everything on your own, but you would be getting a team together. And it could be a team that is supported with some of our undergraduate students or your peers, or you can hire a team of people all on your own. So you basically, as the student, you're working as the executive producer. It's your vision. It's your job to get your vision out. But you can have other people working with you, because obviously if you're trying to do something in media production, you're not going to be able to be the director and the director of photography and the producer and the actor, and you're going to need a team of people. So you're going to need to create something.
So sorry, I want to add something. So basically, any previous experience, technical like skills would be handy, especially if.
Yes, definitely. Like I said, this is not a program where you're going to start to learn how to do everything from scratch. We're actually looking at something that we have an undergraduate program that is a 4-year program in radio and television arts, where we have media production, new media, and sport media. And we have quite a number of our students from that program. So, they've already done 4 years of media production, and then they will go on to do this as a master's level. So like the level of production that we're looking at would be something beyond what an undergraduate person with an undergraduate degree would do. We're really looking at something that is already professional quality. So we would expect that you would have some background in it. And again, if you don't have the full technical background, but you really have experience working in the business side of things, and you want to be more of an executive producer, like it's your vision, you're going to be pulling the team together, that's fine. You can work on that. You can do a proof of concept. So it's something that's shorter, but we want to make sure the quality is there, so that the look of it is there for someone to see when you graduate. It's like if you have a demo reel. And then if you did a proof of concept, you would do a kind of a larger portion of your paper would be a research based. It would be a longer paper. So if you were doing, for example, a full-length production, you would probably have your accompanying paper would be 35 to 40 pages. If you're doing a full-length major research paper, it will probably be 80 to 100 pages. If you don't have a creative aspect to go along with it. And if you're doing something that was in the middle, if you have kind of a mid-sized project, then you would be doing a paper that would be about, say, 60 pages. So all of this, you can see, like this is to put to put your project again into that academic context. That's why we spend so much time in the first term learning about the theory, learning about what other people have written, learning about how to do research, so that you're going to be able to really think carefully and thoughtfully about the industry, about what other people have said, about how we communicate, about how audiences react to things, and take a look at that and say, okay, now I'm doing this project, but it's not just a project. It is scaffolded, and I've learned about all these other things, and this is going to support my project to make it better, because I've learned about the theory of things and the why we do things the way we do it, the why and how. Now I'm going to use that to actually support my project. So it goes beyond what you would do at the undergraduate level. That actually gives you that theoretical, a really strong theoretical underpinning for understanding why you do, because it is at a master's level. Does that help? Okay.
I'm just going to stop sharing the screen so we can see everybody a little better, if that's okay.
Yeah. Hi, may I ask a question?
Sure.
Go for it.
Okay. I have two questions. One is, this is a 1-year program with no breaks in between, right?
Correct.
Okay. And the second question is, are we allowed to take some undergraduate courses with the appropriate permissions, of course, but can we do that?
So there are a certain number of undergraduate courses that are cross-listed. So some of those courses that Daniel had shown are cross-listed with our undergraduate, they're kind of senior level courses. They're cross-listed with our undergraduate program. Graduate students would have additional requirements, like you'd have additional readings, your project that you would have to do, or the paper that you would have to do for that class would be more in depth, and they would have like a higher expectation what we would have for the undergrads. But like, for example, if you're taking the editing class, it would not be just master's students who would be in the editing class. You would be with some of our senior undergraduate students, and that's who would be taking some of those technical classes, the writing class, the editing classes, the podcasting classes, those things you would be mixed in with our senior level undergrads. Again, with additional expectations as a graduate student.
Okay. Thank you.
And if I can add just to that as well, as a graduate student, you're also able to audit things up to two undergrad courses. So if it's not one of the ones that are listed on our website, or is not something a little different from a different program and so on that you're interested on, and it will help your research, you're allowed to audit, I think, up to 2 without paying any extra fees. So basically the same cost. All you need to do is basically with the permission from the instructor and permission from your supervisor that it actually applies to your research area.
Yeah. And I'll just give you an idea of like, what are some of the projects students have worked on. Like this year or last year, we've had a student work on hybrid drum sounds. Someone did sex education in the age of TikTok. We did horror movies from a new feminist perspective. There was a podcast on the vanishing Kalingo tribe. We did a critical history of showrunners. We did a comic web series about microaggressions. We had someone else working on new ways of distributing sport media. So like we have a really wide variety of students who have a wide variety of interests, which is part of what makes the program really enriching, really fulfilling. We've really found that our students have formed a strong cohort, and they're supporting each other, and having students with such diverse backgrounds has made it gives a lot of depth to the program, and it gives a lot of interaction between people, because everybody has a different kind of specialty, everybody has a different background, everybody has a different kind of knowledge, and putting all of that out and having it's a very small cohort. Like we don't have there, it's not a large program. It'll probably be about 15 to 18 students, I would expect, this coming year. So it's quite small. So you'll get to know each other really well. Yeah, so it's just an idea of how wide the variety of projects have been. We had someone else do the history of music in animation. So they took a look at how was animation cut to music. Like if you're looking at the early days of animation, like Fantasia with Disney, all the action was cut to the music beats. And now animation tends to be focused on dialogue. So the student took a look at, how has this changed? And they did a comparison of, how would something have been cut, an animation cut previously compared to how would it be cut now, and what are the trends? We had someone else who actually worked with a professor in our history department, and they did kind of an immersive, if you're walking through the streets of Toronto and they had an app. So if you were to hold it up and to take a look at something within the city of Toronto, you would actually be able to get an audio, like an audio history of what landmark you were looking at, what was happening. So like it's so widespread. It's hard to just say, here's what our students do, because there's so much variety to it.
I think
Okay, thank you.
yeah, I think they'll have a question. Go ahead.
I had a question. It might sound a little like stupid, but basically I just want to know, like, there is just like a like there isn't a specific thing we have to, like, it's not specifically like short films or full feature films or anything like that. Like,
Nope.
I don't know, let's say for example, I want to do like a film about, you know, someone like Marilyn Monroe or whatever, like and I'm like approaching a specific thing about like sexual harassment, whatever, like I can just explore that and I can propose this as my idea and my research on something specific I want to explore.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, so like basically, can we say that the program, as long as they find it, you know, interesting and the argument is strong and the research is actually worth it, they'll.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. As I said, we're looking at people who, okay, like what kind of careers would people maybe want to have when they leave? Maybe you want to become a television producer or a production manager or an executive producer or a development executive or a TV writer or a photographer, or you want to work in business affairs, or you want to work in marketing or post-production or theater. We've had someone go into theater marketing. I think we've got somebody who's working at TIFF with Mervish Productions. We've got people gone to sales and acquisition and distribution. We've had people go into teaching, right? And so I just want, before we forget, we have a stream where we have an MBA stream as well. So just let me talk about that for a moment before we go back to the other questions. So we are in the third year. We've got, I guess we're in the second year right now, coming up, going into the third year of this program where we have an MBA pathway. So how that works is students start in the media production program. You apply to media production, but in the fall of your media production year, you can decide to apply to the MBA program. So if you, that means you would choose to, you put in your application, you would probably have to write your, the GMAT, most likely. You may be able to be excluded from it depending on what your background is, but you'll do the GMAT, you do the application. You apply separately to the MBA program. So it's a separate application altogether. You don't have to claim it or say that you want to do it just as you are starting our program. But right now, I think we have about a third of our students are choosing to go and apply to the MBA. So you can see, like, we have a pretty strong cohort of students who are really interested in the business side of things, the executive producer side of things. That's the content producing, right? So that's kind of where we're looking at. That's the type of students that are attracted. They tend to be attracted to our program. So you'd spend the first year in the first two terms. So you do your fall and your winter terms with the coursework that we do in the MBA. And then in that first summer, instead of working on your Masters of Arts project, you'll switch over and you'll jump to the MBA program. If you don't have the background in economics or statistics or marketing or something like that, they have a series of foundation courses. So you would go to the MBA program, you would start taking those foundational courses to make sure you have the proper background for an MBA. And then in the fall of the second year, you will be, yeah, there it is. Thank you, Daniel. Accounting, finance, economics. So those are some of the foundation courses. I think there are more. I think they're up to 5 or 6 of them, but that's the type of thing that you would take. Then in the fall of the second year, you would jump straight into the MBA program, the hardcore part of the MBA program. You would do that for the fall and winter of your second year. And then in your final summer, you would do a capstone as part of the MBA program. So it's usually, they have 3 different choices of what you can do within the MBA program. It's like, one that's got to do if you want to be an entrepreneur. One is there's an international one where you will actually work with a group of students. That the MBA program will choose an international company. It may or may not be related to media, but they choose an international company and students go to work with that. Or we've had the students who are in it right now have chosen to do things that are more entrepreneurial. So the first student who went through it found a couple of other students who are interested in media as well. And he basically did a consulting. He was a consultant for a media company in Toronto and then got hired by that company since then. So he's kind of now working there full time as part of that. So you have an entrepreneurship, you have consulting, you have something that's international. So in that final summer term, you would be doing that capstone project for your MBA, and you would also finish up whatever your project would be for the Master of Arts in Media Production. So you'd be doing two things in that final summer.
So would you recommend the NBA like program, or would you recommend applying to it if the student is more interested in like the business aspect of production and stuff? They want to go more into.
Yeah, well,
Like-
I think it does well for students who really are interested in that. Like, not every student loves the business side of it, but if you do, I think you will get the two qualifications. It's not a weird degree. You get a full MA degree and you get a full MBA. So you would graduate with two full degrees. It does save money because you save some terms of work. And because some of what you've done in the media production program gets applied to the MBA. So if you're interested in that, it gives you that additional qualification. So you have a theoretical Master of Arts degree, and you also have that business degree, you've got the MBA. So depending on what you want to do, if that's the kind of direction that you want to go, it makes a big difference.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks
Lily.
for that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, I was just wondering about the nature of the 2-week UCLA boot camp. I've been like looking into it, and I was wondering what's the logistics of applying to that if you are in the master's program, and what do you do when you do the boot camp?
Okay, so James Nadler runs that course. He was going to join us today, but he was not able to. But basically they take, there's a small number of students from the master's program that they take down to Los Angeles, as well as some more undergraduate students, the fourth year students and undergrad. And they all go, they learn from, they stay down there for 2 weeks. They learn from executives. I believe they make a pitch, Daniel, do they make a pitch to of whatever their project is going to be. I know there's coursework before and there's some coursework afterward. It's not just the 2 weeks, but it's 2 weeks that you actually spend in Los Angeles working with people who are in the industry, who really help you to, it's kind of like a pitching course about what you would do and how you would pitch your project to professionals.
And it usually happens in the spring, summer term. So as a master's student, if you're doing just the 1-year degree, you basically either hope you'll have all it counts as an elective credit. So you either plan it that way that you already have all the electives and it becomes an extra credit, or you plan it so that that's your final credit before graduation. All you have to do, I think, and Laura, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you have to just finish your MRP a little bit before if you're going to be doing this course, just because of the timing of when it lands is right in the middle of the summer. So you want to make sure that you finish your MRP, right?
Yeah, it's RTNLA. That's right, Victor.
RTNLA, yeah.
RTNLA. It's RTNLA. It usually takes place, it's like, I'm going to say middle of August to like maybe like August 10 to 24, something like that kind of time frame. So you have to make sure that you've got your project done a little bit earlier. You want to make sure you present it in July, because you're going to be really busy while you're doing RTNLA, and you probably won't have time to finish up everything and do a presentation and finish off the work that you would need to finish off for RTNLA on in addition to everything else. It just takes a little bit more planning. If you're doing the 2-year version of the program, just depends on what you do for the capstone in the MBA. It depends on the timing of that. So the recommendation would be that you do it in the summer term, your first summer term. And there is an additional fee for that, only because you need flights and you have to stay there, and it's on top of your tuition. There's a little bit more of a cost to that.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Munir, go ahead.
Hi, I want to ask a different question related to, like, on reality. Have you had like previously students who've been working while studying? They've been working in the industry. Like, for example, I'm already working in the news industry. I'm just wondering now, while I'm hearing from you guys, like, is it, can we do it for real while we're doing a full-time job in the industry? Can we do this, or is it going to be too much? What do you think?
I'll be honest, it's hard because it is a really intense program. Especially if you're not used to reading, doing a lot of kind of graduate level reading. It takes a bit of time for you to kind of get in the swing of things. Students are pretty stressed out, especially those first 6 weeks. It's a big change. It's a big, if you've been out of school for a while, it's a big change. And even if you're just switching from undergrad to graduate school, that in itself is a big change. It's a change in the way you think. It's a change in the way you have to work, change in the level of responsibility, the amount of reading that you have. We absolutely have had people who have worked full-time and done it. Every year we have people who are working full-time. You just have to have excellent time management skills. You have to learn to say no to everything that you might want to do that is, not absolutely necessary. Things you would normally say, sure, I can help with that. You might just have to be like, no, I can't do that if you value sleep at all. So it will be very tight, but it can be done. You would have to have a work schedule that is flexible because not all of the courses are in the evening. Some courses are in the evening, but some of them are going to be 8 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock, right? So if your work schedule is flexible and it can accommodate that, that makes it a lot easier. But we've had people they're still working 40 hours a week within the industry, but the people we're working with understand that, hey, I've got to be in my classes for this afternoon or that afternoon, and I won't be able to work now. As long as you can switch your schedule around. It's been done, but it's hard.
And by the way, while I'm asking this, I haven't read all details on the website. Mostly the campus for our program, is it the one near Dundas Square?
Yes, that's right.
Which is good for me. I work in City TV. Good.
There you go. Well, we've had people who have come from City TV who have worked full time and have done it. So we have absolutely had people there. That proximity does make it a little bit easier for you. So yeah, we've done that. Almost everything is going to be, we hope, will continue to be offered on campus and in person. I mean, we had a couple of years with COVID where everything got shifted to online. We have one course that we think will stay virtual just because of the nature of the course. It involves it's one of the elective courses, involves a lot of guest speakers from this country, from other countries, from other time zones. So it just makes it a lot easier if we can offer that course virtually, because we don't have to fly people in and get them out, if they're living all the way across the world. They can just Zoom in instead. So it certainly makes it easier from a scheduling perspective, for them to be able to come and to talk to you. So we have one course that we think will stay virtual. Most likely all of the others will be in person.
Right. Diva, go ahead. You're next.
Hi, I'm sorry, I'm not turning on the camera. It's 4:30 a.m. here and I'm kind of messed. I just, I attended this session because the whole program was kind of a bit unknown to me, but now I got a little bit actually more clear about it. I have an irrelevant bachelor degree, but I am willing to actually pursue my kind of studies and my profession in filmmaking, like narrative filmmaking, and I've had like portfolio in that area. And now that I've heard your explanations about the whole program and the courses we have to take, and you just mentioned that the pathway for graduates are mostly to become creative producers or executive producers. So I'm thinking that it might not be a fit program for someone who wants to become a narrative filmmaker. So I'm kind of like, don't know if I should even apply for this. It's a little too hazy for me.
I think it really just depends on what exactly it is that you want to do. Like we're looking for students coming in who already have a really good grasp of the production process. So, and we really work with film, we're working with video. So, I mean, there are some people who actually say, I want to work with actual film. We don't have that. Like, we don't even have those facilities for you. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously we are going to be working with video. But we have people who absolutely, they want to be content producers. I mean, absolutely, we have people who that is what they love. They've got the skills for it. They are able to build the team to be able to create a full-length project. We always have people who want to do that and love to do that. So yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to do and you have the skills and the ability to be able to do that, then I think you enjoy it a lot.
Yeah. So the way, thank you. But the way I understood is that this program mostly covers maybe something like that project question, something that actually relates more to the the context of this, more contextual, like what we want to create and what is it about, more than the production side of it on how to actually make a film. It's not going to cover that. It's more about the content that we want to create. Am I right?
Yeah.
And
So
why
like,
we want to create that, and what's our question? Why do we want to do that? For example, maybe I want to actually answer this question and make films about, for example, I don't know, women in Iran, like whatever, something that just popped into my head. If I want to do that, then I have to like make films that actually answer that question. This program does not cover how to make a film, like the technical side of it.
no, like we would expect students to come in having that basic
Yes.
understanding of production.
Mhm. I understood that. Thank you very much.
Ian, go ahead.
Hello again. I have experience in film and TV from more than a decade and a half ago. I have several college diplomas in technical things and a recent degree, as I said earlier. Yes, I am capable of doing video, but actually my focus is actually more on radio and podcast.
Yeah, we're very strong on that.
Could I also have a diploma from Humber College in radio as well as numerous other things. But aside, is it okay if I focus my demo reel, say, on radio and podcast rather than video? Is
Of
that
course.
okay?
Yeah, especially if that's what you want to do. We would, when you're putting together your portfolio, put together something that shows your strongest creative work, especially if it relates to what you want to do within the program. So show
Okay.
us what you've been able to create, clips. We don't want you to give us a whole half hour, like give us your best
Yeah,
3 to 5
yeah.
minutes.
I
Because we're
understand.
not able to listen to or
Yeah.
watch, and I've done an hour and a half movie. That's great, but we can't
Mhm.
watch all of that. Our admissions team won't get to do it. But yeah, we have, a really strong component of our faculty works in audio. And like, I love audio, and we have a lot of people who work in podcasting, work in radio. So yeah, you're certainly welcome. We always have students who are we have quite a number of students this year who are working on podcasts.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely a growing area. So it's great to know about, and definitely.
Yeah, I know, I agree with you, but also too, like, it's not that I don't want to do video. It's just that's also I'm a person with a visual disability. So for me, video is fine. I can do it. I was a broadcast engineer for 10 years. But however, my first love was always radio. So that's what I would like to do.
I want people to work on what they're passionate about. You're going to be spending 1 year really focusing on a particular project. It has to be something that you love, because you're going to be spending a lot of time and energy, and your blood, sweat, and tears are going into it. So you have to love what you're doing. What we want for you is like, okay, we're hoping, okay, if you're reaching here, we want you to reach even higher when you get there, but we really want to make sure it's about something that you love, and you're going to be really proud of when you finish, when you graduate, and you're going to have like, this is going to launch me going forward. Here's what I want to do. I love this so much. I'm so glad I actually get to spend a year working on it. That's what we're hoping for people to choose for their projects. That's the passion we're talking about. Like, what do you love? Why do you want to do it? And let's give you the time to spend that year working on something you love doing.
That's awesome. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Excellent. I think Vagish, you're next.
Hey, thanks, Daniel. So my question is, it's just a couple of steps back to what Laura was speaking about earlier, regarding the GPA to work experience weightage. So I just wanted to get a little bit more insight on it. For example, from what I recollect, because I did my bachelor's, I completed this back like a decade ago. So if my memory serves me correct, it just falls a few points short of 3 in the last 2 years. But given the extensive work experience of any candidate, including myself, would have, what would be the weightage distribution for consideration into this course?
So I think, as Daniel had mentioned, as long as it's not like a full grade point lower than what they're asking for, if it's just a little bit short, they probably will send it to us. And you should mention within your application that, yes, look, I realize it's a little bit short. Please take a look at, look at the professional experience that I've had. It's been a long time. Like, honestly, some of the grading that happened, 10, 15, 20 years ago, grade point averages were lower than what they are now. Like it's just grading has changed, right? Like, so we've
100%.
recognized that, right? So we do recognize that this has happened. So we'll take a look at it, especially if it's been quite a while ago and you've had professional experience since then. You know,
Okay.
just mention it. And I said, if it's a little bit lower, it's okay. If it's a full grade point lower, they will not allow it to go through, even to come through to our local admissions committee.
I see. So just in continuation to that as well, regarding the work experience specifically, when we submit the resumes required for this admission process, do we also need to submit our like back in university we had mid-sem internships, so would that also be advisable to include or not?
Include anything that you think is relevant, especially to your project or to media production and to what you want to do going forward. If you've done anything that's relevant to the research side, put it in. If you've done something that's relevant to the production side of what you're doing, put that in, whether it's volunteer work, whether it's hobby, whether it is professional, put all of it in. Let us see what you've done. Give us your best stuff in your portfolio and we will take a look at everything as a whole.
All right. Thanks a lot, Laura. Thanks a lot.
Lucas, go ahead.
Good night. Thank you, Daniel and Laura. I would like to know what would be the estimated cost for doing both the media production program in the first year and the master pathway.
Daniel, do you know what the cost is for it? I don't actually know that off the top of my head. I know the MBA is quite a bit more than ours is. But
Yes, so it is. I'll put up the numbers in a second. I'll give you guys the link on the chat. But basically, the programs work differently. So for the media production MA, I was gonna find here 1 second here. Basically, the tuition works on a yearly basis. So if you're doing just the MA, you basically pay sort of like a flat fee for the year, and that includes 3 semesters. And then depending if you're international or domestic, that fee will vary. I think now I'll put up the link in a second, but it's around $4,000 per term, more or less, for domestic, maybe a little less. And then for international, it's a little more. It's around I want to say about 8 or so per semester. If you're doing the MBA, the MBA actually charges by course. So they're in a slightly different system. So instead of having like a flat fee, your tuition will vary depending on how many courses you're taking that semester, because the courses are basically they're half credits. In some cases, they're full credits in others. So their pricing varies a little bit. I will also put the full range in there, but I think a regular course will be between $1,300 to $1,700, give or take. But I'll give you the full amounts. I'll put them in the chat for you guys so you have them there. But just keep in mind that it does vary depending if you go through just the MA, it's a flat rate, or if you go the MA and the MBA, you basically pay a flat rate for the first 2 terms on the MA, and then the rest is by course when you're doing the MBA portion of it. So 4 semesters will be based on the MBA fees, just because of the way you have to do the spring summer courses for the MBA qualifications. But I'll post the full amounts in the chat in a second.
Okay, thank you. And on the same topic, if we take the master pathway, would we have the presentation of our thesis before the MBA, or would this be after?
That depends on what your project is going to be. If you have a project that is kind of has a business feel to it, it may be beneficial for you to wait until that second summer to present it, because you may learn things within the MBA that will strengthen what your project is going to be. We've had students do it both ways. We've had some students who've actually just completed everything for their MA within the first year, and then they just move on and they've done the second year just doing the MBA. We've also had a number of our students who have said, you know what, I will continue working on my project through that second year while I'm in the MBA, taking some of the things that I've learned about marketing, about distribution, about management, and applying them to my Master's of Media Production project. And then it will strengthen my project. So I will be presenting that in that second summer when I finish the MBA as well. So there's some flexibility there.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Daniel, for posting the fees there.
Of course, and I think Aiden, I think you're next.
Hi, yeah, thanks so much. So I see it's getting a little late here, so I'll try and be like as quick as possible.
That's okay.
Sorry, no, it's just my friend next to me. I'm so sorry about that. She's usually like that a lot. For my, you made me forget my question. It's just my friend. I'm sorry. I'll make this quick. For the GMAT test,
Yes.
that's something we just take on by ourselves, right?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. We
And we
recommend
probably, sorry, go.
take a prep course. It helps a lot if you do a prep course.
Okay.
Prep book. I mean, I did the GMAT myself. I used a book. The one that I used was the Princeton Review. I found that super helpful when I did my GMAT. Hadn't taken math, I think, since I was 15. So it'd been a while since I'd done it and I needed a refresher. I didn't take an actual like class for it. I just bought the book out of the bookstore and I worked on it and I found it to be really, really helpful. And I did very well on the GMAT.
Awesome. And sorry, my second thing is for the scholarship. So I saw on the website that by applying to the master's, you're eligible for you're considered for the 3 scholarships. The others are on the website, I believe, and you just apply to them via what their applications are.
Yeah, there's some scholarships there's some scholarships or student awards that you are automatically eligible for. There's some that you have to apply for. There's a whole range. And there are also some scholarships that are offered like in March of the first year of your MBA. You would apply to them in, I guess, January, February, something like that. Wouldn't you say, Daniel? And then they get awarded around March. So there's a number of them. Some are entrance awards as you come in. Some are awards that you're eligible for while you're in the program. And some are government, like, they have some that are Ontario graduate scholarships and fellowships and things. There's a lot of awards that are available.
Awesome. And then my last thing. So what I want to after graduate school and MBA stuff, my goal is to get into television development. I think they may have had this exact conversation with James. That's definitely something that is looked at, that is good for like the Masters of Media and the MBA, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of students who are really interested in that and getting into development work. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Sorry, I tried to speed through that as much as possible. Just realizing my backdrop looks really cool. Thank you so much, Laura, for everything. And thanks for answering all my questions. This was super helpful. Thanks so much.
Very welcome. Munir, do you have another question?
Yeah, sorry, we still have time just for a quick question, right? My question is related to the technical part of the production process.
Yeah.
So I asked you before, you said mostly the technical sides would be related to the general courses. That's where we're gonna make like editing courses or whatever. So let's say like in this university, do you guys have different course like more practical? Are we talking like the documentary 2-year programs, master degree? I'm just wondering. Or
So-
this is
So you only have the 4 courses that are required courses, right? So there's the project development course, which is when you do your proposal. We have a research methods course, aesthetics communication theory, and then you have the pro seminar where you learn about like from other executives within the industry. Other than that, you can take electives where you can, and a lot of students will choose to take those to be strictly production-based electives, where you can do that. We also offer workshops. So, coming up in January, we're going to be offering workshops in video production and lighting and editing. So it's not a whole course. They're going to be a series of workshops that will just, help our students to be familiar with what equipment we have. You have a quick refresher for students who, maybe it's been a while since they've used it, or they need to figure out how to use our equipment. What we have available. So we're going to be offering probably, 5 to 8 different workshops in things like audio for video, podcasting, as I said, editing, video production, lighting, all of that kind of stuff. Probably something on tax credits and, funding and things like that as well. And we'll just offer some workshops. So they're voluntary. They're not offered at a cost. They're free for any students can take them if they want to take them. But if you actually want to take a whole course, we've got those undergraduate cross-listed courses, which tend to be more technical in nature. And you can take I don't know, how many courses are they allowed to take per term? Is it like,
5 is usually the max. I think we usually do 4 is like the standard. 5, it's possible. It's possible. It's just a matter of timing and make sure that you can handle that many courses. I think once we had someone with 6 courses and they did dropped it halfway through pretty much. But there was 1 or 2 of the people that actually managed to get through with 6. So I think 5 is I would say the maximum. 4 is standard. And then additional to the courses, the elective courses that we have, the auditing course is another option if you want to get more on the technical side of things, where it's a specific thing that you want to learn, and it may be software either in our program or one of the other programs in our faculty or the university. And if they have a course that you can audit, that's another way to do it as well, if you want just more of that technical experience. And then you also asked about the documentary media MFA program. So I'm gonna put just the link in the chat for you. They do have an information session coming up on November 30th. So it might be interesting if you want to know more about that one. It is a completely separate program. It's a 2-year program versus a 1 year. It has covers different things. They also have some technical stuff, but they also have the academic stuff. And most grad programs at this level will have, similar to what the media production has, half of it is academic and research and knowledge, and then the other half might be technical and creating some sort of project, especially in our faculty. Okay, but I'll post that in the chat for you.
so like one of the elective courses that you have to take has to be an interdisciplinary course as well. It's just to make sure that it's broadening your horizons, broadening your level of knowledge. We always have students, I think, from every year of our program have gone on to do doctorates, have gone on to do PhDs. We have quite a number of students who want to get into teaching. So they take our course as a step forward. With masters, you can usually teach at the community college level. If getting a PhD will give you more opportunities for teaching within universities as well. So we always have a number of students who are doing this as a pathway to that as well. So we have some who want to go kind of business oriented. They want to go to MBAs. We have some who might want to be doing more theory, more research, more audience research, things like that. And they go on to do PhDs.
Thank you so much. Okay.
You're welcome. Joe, do you still have another question? Or is your hand still up from before?
No, I have a question. I have 2 really quick questions. So, do you recommend that we audit in the courses from the documentary media MFA that you just sent the link to in the chat? If we want more like technical, just want more like a technical experience and such?
That's just an example. I think that's just an example of the program, because I believe he mentioned it before when you mentioned it when he was asking the question. But I mean, really, when you're in our faculty, you could audit courses or take courses from pretty much any other programs within our faculty. So documentary media is one of them, but we have professional communication, we have fashion, we have journalism, we have 11 different programs that you can choose from within our faculty, as well as I think up to 45 now in terms of all of the university and graduate programs. So it really does depend on what you're doing and what you want to learn based on your project and your research. Sometimes connections happen between different departments that work out really well. We had people, do sometimes some from engineering. It's a really good connection with someone studying TV for some reason. And then you guys get together and develop something bigger and better, right? So that's sort of the idea of having that there. This one's just one example, but I mean, I'll put up also a site that you have basically a list of all the programs, so you can take a look if you're curious, just to see what else is out there for sure.
Daniel, maybe put up a link for the screenwriting for people who want to be writers. We have a new program, so we are really encouraging people who want to be writers to go into the screenwriting and story development program. So our program is more focused on the content creators, but if you want to do documentary, the 2-year documentary program will be more suitable, because it just takes that long to create a documentary, to do the research, to get everything done, to do the interviews, to put it together. You'll need the 2 years. It's very tight for people to be able to do a full documentary within the 1-year program while they're doing all the other courses. So people who want to do documentary filmmaking, that's probably the better program for you. If you want to get into script writing and you want to do story design, there's a program that is completely geared for you to do that as well. So there are some similarities between the programs, but if those are the specific areas that you really want, those are the programs that you should go to for those types of things.
Okay. Thank you. My second question was, I don't expect you to know the answer for this, but I thought I'd ask anyway since I'm here. Recently in the new capital here in Egypt, right or TMU had like
Campus,
I don't
yeah, we're there.
yeah,
Yeah.
campus in New Cairo. So my friend was just telling me like, can't you take the master's program here? Would I be able to take it here?
No, you
Or do I
can't.
have to come to
You have to come to Toronto. Yeah, we don't
Okay.
have it. That's for the an undergraduate program that we have in Cairo. So you would have to come here.
Yeah, because I did check online and it was 1 year, but then it said undergraduate, so I was confused. So I thought I'd just ask.
It's just
But
getting
thank you.
started as well. But yeah, the whole graduate.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Who knows? Maybe in the future we'll have graduate programs there, but
We might. We're just
working
good.
up to it, little by
We're-
little.
That's right. Step by step. We're just getting.
Maybe I should wait till then.
Yeah, I mean, things change quickly. You know, they took a look at where the needs are, what the, you know, we want to meet student demand and student needs. So if you want it, you should write and ask and say, hey, and you know, the more requests they get, the more likely they'll be to say, yeah, we definitely we can see that this is a thing that we should look into further.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Munir.
Sorry, a lot of questions. Again, we're talking about the 1 year program. So let's say you want to do a documentary, you want to do whatever, right? You will have enough technical courses to fulfill or to close any gap you have, even with your previous experiences, right? It's not necessary for me to do a 2 years or whatever, right? 1 year, you're saying even 1 year or 2 years, you will have a part of the theoretical studies, and there is a lot of space also for technical stuff, right?
Yeah, there is. But like if you wanted to get a documentary done within the year, you'd have to have it quite a lot of the pre-production already done before you would even get here, just because of the time span that you have and how busy you would be to be doing it. So if you kind of already knew, like, all right, I basically have all this pre-production part done, I've got my planning all done. So once I actually get into the program, I can get started on doing it. Otherwise, you'll just run really short on time. Like if you say, oh, I'll start my pre-production in November once I kind of figure what I'm going to do, and it'll be all kind of wrapped up by, I don't know, like February, then I'll get started. You'll just run out of time to be able to do a proper documentary and get the interviews done, get it edited, get it to sound right, get, you know, all the graphics and everything you need, and you'll just run out of time.
Okay, understood. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ian, go ahead.
What is the equal opportunity date?
I believe it's January 15.
20th, January 20th, 2023.
Okay, so the application's open for this year on the 15th of October, correct?
Right.
Yes.
And that runs until the 20th of January.
Right.
And that would be approximately the same for next year, because I'm not sure if I'm going to apply now or next year. Depends
It's
on kind of
always
what happens.
Mid-January. It's always mid-January.
Mid-January is the equal opportunity date?
Yep.
Perfect.
First
Thank-
consideration, as long as we basically will hold off on everything. We'll take a look at all of the applications we get by that date, by that first consideration date, and you'll have an equal chance with absolutely everybody else in that program. We will make sure that the spots are not given away before that, so that
Right.
everybody has a chance to get in. That's basically, we'll start taking a look. And, you know, it takes a little while for the application committee to be able to look through it. It takes a while for admissions to get over to us. Offers start to go up probably around March, I would say.
Okay. Thank you very much. You've been wonderful. You've both answered all of my questions. Thanks very much.
Great. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
Daniel, do we get everything right? Is there anything you need to correct of what I said? Have I done anything wrong here, or is it all pretty
Yeah,
good?
I think everything's perfect. And just, I guess, just last couple of things, and one last thing as a piece of advice, I always tell everybody, don't leave your application to the last minute. If you can, try to meet that January 20th deadline or earlier if you can, because that deadline also applies to some of the scholarships that we offer. where you're automatically considered. So make sure that you meet that deadline beforehand. And I said that because the admission process is actually a two-step process. So you have to do step one, which is basically telling the Ontario University's website that you want to come to Toronto Metropolitan University and to this program. And they take about 5 business days in between that and step 2, which is when you can actually upload your documents after you receive an email from us from the university telling you how to and where to upload. Okay, so make sure that if you're going to apply, if you're running late, you feel free to do step 1 anytime between now and the beginning of January, but give yourself about a week in between step 1 and step 2 of the application process, just so that you don't miss the deadline because you're waiting for that email. Because that's actually a third party. It's not our university that sent that email. It's an Ontario ministry. So we gotta make sure that we can't control that. So we have to wait for them as well. All right. So that's just my big tip. Don't leave it till last minute.
For January 13th instead of the 20th, and get your stuff in.
Exactly.
Hi, I had a couple of questions.
Sure.
The first is, it's a technical question. Who owns the project? Like if we develop a film, who owns the film that we develop during the course, during the program?
You will own all the copyright in your work. You have to give the university, I think, like rights to be able to put a clip of it up for promotional. We have to put it, keep a copy in the library, things like that. But you don't require any permission from us to do anything you want with your project going forward.
Okay.
You own
Okay. Also, you were going to expand on the portfolio part. How long should the portfolio be, or how long can each clip be, or something like that? Some guidelines about the portfolio.
Yeah, so like pick your best things. Choose project or choose pieces that you've worked on, projects that you've worked on that will show your best work that most relate to whatever your kind of project is going to be within the program. So people can use stills, you could do photography, you can do audio clips, you can do video clips. Don't make them too long. I would say try to keep the whole thing to, if you have clips, to not more than 10 minutes, just so that we'll be able to have time to focus and watch everything. So if you have, say 3-minute clips, something like that would be good. But you can use still photography. We've had people submit just links for audio, so you can hear the audio work that they've been doing. We've got digital media projects that people have submitted. It can be a variety, so like it doesn't even have to be all 3 of the same thing. If you've done something that's great in video and you've also done something great with digital media and you're a really good photographer, you can provide all of those things. It's us getting a sense of how you are creatively, what you can do. Do you have a sense of the visual? Do you have a sense of aesthetics? Do you have a sense of story or story arc, or if you're telling us a story? And
tell us please go on.
So if you're working on a team to create something, tell us what you did on it. So if you did everything for your video project, tell us. But if you only did one of the roles in it, also tell us that. So let us know what part you did when we take.
Just expanding on what you said, if as an admission committee member, would you prefer clips of many projects, or would you prefer one complete project?
It's really up to you. It's really up to you. I would suggest more than one thing, because it gives us more of a sense of what you've been able to do. But if you've really only worked on one thing and you're really proud of it and it's fantastic, then show us that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay, going once.
Yeah.
Going twice.
One little question regarding
right.
the MBA. If we get the MA in 1 year and then take like a 1 year, 2 year gap, would it still be possible to link the MBA with the MA done? No,
you can't do that. Then you would have to go into the regular MBA program, which would take longer and add more time to your program.
Got it. Thank
you basically don't graduate until the second year. So it kind of delays your graduation of your MA until you finish that one, because that all gets tied together. They can't apply, once you've graduated, they can't take courses that you've already graduated, got credit for, and apply them to a new program. So that's basically what happens. So anything that you would have gotten credit for from the MA wouldn't apply anymore. You'd have to start again.
Okay.
Okay. I think there's one more question. Chaitanya.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to put
Oh,
my
this one
hand down.
before.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
No problem.
Sorry.
Quite all right. Okay.
Okay.
Anyone else? Again, Daniel, do you want to just maybe put our contact info up so people can see
Yeah.
it? They can reach us if you have any additional questions.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have a question. Sorry. I just remembered. I'd actually forgotten it mid-session and it just came to me.
Go ahead.
The question is, I've gone through your website very extensively. It says that we can reach out to supervisors beforehand, before we apply, right? And if they say yes, we should put it into our letter of intent, or tell you that I have been so and so. Can you expand a little bit more on that? Like, how do we approach a supervisor? What can we send to the supervisor?
You can just send them an email and say, I'm a potential applicant to this program. This is what the type of project that I want to work on. Could I set up a 10-minute meeting with you just to kind of discuss it and just to see if we think we would be a good fit going forward? You're not required to do it. We at least name the supervisors that you think you'd like to work with. After you get your acceptance, then we certainly would encourage you to go ahead and have more in-depth conversations with the people that you would want to work with. But you can do it ahead of time as well if you want to. It's just that you don't have an acceptance in hand at that point. So it's a little bit harder to to have that conversation. But you're always welcome to reach out to them to say, like, this is an area I'm really interested in working in. Is this something you could help to support me on? And just have a quick 5-10 minute Zoom meeting with them if they have time for that.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Daniel. I think I know you because I've seen the previous recordings of this program, of other programs, and I've always seen Daniel. So thank you so much.
Hopefully, I wear a different shirt every time.
Yes.
Vagish, you had a question? Oh, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Muted. Unmute.
Hi, am I audible now?
Yeah, that's good.
Perfect.
So sorry, I'm keeping you guys way past the scheduled time. Two very minor questions. First is piggybacking on what Chaitanya said regarding possible supervisors for our major project. I did go through your website, and I'm very interested in what Dr. Alexander is doing with esports and esports media, and specifically esports history, because I myself come from a very extensive esports background, having been an athlete also. So my main agenda to ask this question was, is it possible to get a campus visit wherein possibly I can meet Dr. Alexander and see the kind of work he's doing, which could provide me some insight into my major project? And I'll ask my second question once when you go.
You can always ask. I mean, we have tour and discussion days. We have days that undergraduate and graduate students are welcome to visit our campus. If you just want to have a meeting with a particular professor, you can just ask him, like, would love to talk to you about your work. Chris is pretty great about talking to people. He likes to talk about what he does. He's usually always quite willing to do that. Like, I know we have a student this year who is putting together a collegiate esports kind of tournament and looking at the DIY mentality about, like, how these things have gotten started. That's one of the projects we've got going this year that he's supervising. So he's got a couple of students he's actually supervising this year.
Yeah, it's a rising field. $229 billion just last year globally, right? So we're talking about like a magnanimous revenue making behemoth. So my final question here, Laura and Daniel, is specifically related to portfolios and the way we submit them. Is there a pertinent template we are supposed to adhere to, or it's just got to be like a PDF file with a link to the video, audio, whatever the media content be, and then a summary? How would you guys prefer it?
So each component, so if you look at the website, you have like the list of the components, and basically what happens, those you have to upload as in each component comes as an individual PDF file. How you organize a PDF file, that's up to you. The idea obviously making sure that when you put it in there, it's easy for the review committee to download it, either click on the links or look at it or whatever it is, but it's easily accessible, easily organized, and it's easy to understand what piece of each puzzle, like what piece of the applications are they looking at. But each of those components, like your statement of interest will be one PDF, your portfolio will be another PDF, your letters of reference come automatically, your CV will be another PDF. So what you want to do within that, be creative and showcase how good you
Play
are.
all the
Basically.
data in between. That's wonderful, because the reason why I asked this question specifically was, like I mentioned earlier, I did my undergrad like about a decade ago. So a lot of the media which is already there on YouTube and Vimeo, because it was based out of India and I was based out of India at that time. So unfortunately, subtitling wasn't really considered a huge yes at that time. So would you want it to be subtitled so then I can just download the videos off YouTube and then re-upload them? Or would you want me to just give a brief summary of the video? Like, I'm mildly confused on that.
It's really up to you. I mean, we want you to use your creativity to put your best foot forward. If you were going to be to anyone, how do you want them to take a look at it? So we will leave that up to you to how you see it. You know, you know your work the best and you know how to present it the best. All we're going to ask is that if you are not completely responsible for all of the work and you're only part of a team, tell us what your part was on that team. Other than that, you know, if you do PDF and you've got the link, always we like it if you can just click instead of trying to cut and paste, because sometimes they don't work and it's, you know, just frustrating to get to it. Clickable is preferable. And then just a little blurb about, you know, what is it that we're looking at? What did you do? Just, it's always nice if you just have just a quick little intro to it so we know what it is that we're looking at and what part you played in it.
Okay, that's lovely. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Laura and Daniel. You've answered all my questions.
Good.
It's amazing, and I really look forward to meeting you guys on campus.
Wonderful. Us too.
Just a quick question. Daniel mentioned a letter of recommendation. So as I understand it, it is sent directly to the referee. Is it a form? Is it a letter? Like, you know, could you just tell me a little more about that?
Yes.
Clickable. So they can click, like, you know, what percentage are you, is this the top 10%, top 2%, whatever part of that is that. Then there's a little paragraph where they can put in a paragraph, or they can attach a letter as an attachment. If they want to write the letter, they can do that as well and attach it.
So there's a small questionnaire, a Q&A sort of thing, and a write-up that they can send.
Yeah, so they can either just do the one paragraph, or they can just attach an entire letter of reference for you and they can attach it to it and we can take a look at that.
Okay, thank you.
And it all comes from an email. Usually at the same time that you get your email from the university, they will get an email from the university asking for the letter reference. So just make sure you check with them that they received it and they can actually respond to it.
I know that some universities have an issue with a public domain ID. Is that an issue with the TMU as well? Like if they have a Gmail or a Yahoo ID, will that be an issue? Like they don't have to have an institutional email, right?
No, it's fine. Any as long as they're correct information, you're fine.
Okay, thank you.
Vigesh, do you have another question, or is your hand just
because Chaitanya asked that question about letter of reference, there's no pregnant format we're supposed to follow through for that, right?
No, because they will give,
because I've had my batchmates who've moved on to masters after university, and a lot of them were like, oh no, the university asked for this letter of reference in this format and I had to get it redone. So I just want to be clear on that front.
they will send a form, the clickable form, and then part of that clickable form, it either gives them a space where they can write a paragraph or two about you, or they can just say see attached letter and then also attach their own letter if they wish.
Okay, so they can send it directly to the university. I don't have to get it from them and send it to you.
Nope, you do not get involved. It goes straight to us.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot. Thanks. So sorry for bothering you.
Is that can I have the form, a look at the form so that I can brief my referees a little better? Like, is there any way I can access the form? A blank form?
No, that only goes to the I don't even have a copy, to be honest. It only goes directly to the referees, but it's mostly just like your information, who you are, your name, stuff like that, and think of it like a quick questionnaire about, you know, how they know you and what's a little bit of your skills, stuff like that, and that's it. And then the letter. The main thing is the letter that they attach or they type right in there. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, going once, going twice, going 3 times. All right, I think is that everything everybody has? No more questions?
Sorry, I'm really sorry. I know everyone wants to leave. I have a yes or no question. I have a script to like an actual physical script to submit. That's a good portfolio piece, right? Like I have a screenplay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's okay. Thanks. You answered my question. Sorry about that.
No, me. Okay. We can call it now.
Good. All right. Thank you
All
so
right.
much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for great questions you guys have all asked. It's really nice to see people who are so excited about it. When we would be thrilled to have you apply to our program. You know, we just want people who love what they're doing. They love to be here, and then you get surrounded by other students who are also there because they love what they're doing and they love being here and what they're doing, and they want to do great work in media. So that's what we hope for. We want to get a collection of students who all feel that way, and they're all supporting each other and kind of encouraging other. That's really what we hope for, and that you can use this to launch yourself onto bigger and better things. That is our hope for you. All right.
Exactly. Awesome.
All right,
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. If you do have any questions, reach out, send us an email. Otherwise, hope to see you in the fall at some point, and look forward to your applications.
The future is creative. The Creative School.